Hello, and welcome to Silicon Valley Girls Chat Over Tea. I'm Gloria.
And I'm Rosetta.
And in the spirit of kindness, we want everyone to always listen to one another and be compassionate to one another.
Yes, we do. And we'd love for you, if you are returning, thank you so much. We'd love your support. But if you're new to our channel, welcome.
Welcome.
And we just want to remind everyone before we get started quickly to like us on our channel, hit the thumb icon. Please consider subscribing if you haven't already, and hit the bell notification so you don't miss any of our videos. Ding, ling, ling.
Yes, that's what's important.
And if you're new, we're Silicon Valley Girls Chat Over Tea, like Gloria said. And what do we do when we start our chats? Talk about tea.
Absolutely. We can't be tea girls without talking about the tea.
Yes.
So today we're doing Tulsi Lemon Ginger.
And if you're a regular, you've probably seen us. We've had this one before and we love it. The combination is great.
And you know, one of the things about Tulsi is ancient wellness, and I love that. This particular tea reduces stress, supports immune system, builds stamina, powerful adaptogens, aids in digestive, anti-aging, balances metabolism, balances energy level, and it uplifts the mood, which we're all for.
We love that. We want uplifting.
Yes. So the ingredients are organic. You know, we like that word. There's a proprietary blend. It's organic ginger, organic Tulsi, which is the holy basil blend, holy basil, which is a East Indian basil, and it's the leaf. That's what I love about this. This isn't the pieces, it's the leaves. And organic lemongrass. Can't get better than that.
Yes.
It's got all the great symbols, non-GMO, very, very good.
We like our teas. And a little quick fact is that, did you know that if you get a tea, they don't rinse the tea leaves before that you actually drink it. So the first rinsing is when you seep the tea. So you're drinking. So be careful. You have to get organic.
Yes, because you don't want to get something that'll make you sick. So we've had
this seeping, and we always smell the teas because we love it. And true sign of good tea is when it smells amazing before we dunk it in.
And this has a very natural,
I love it. You can smell the ginger and the lemon.
Yes, I love ginger.
Dunk it in a bit more.
I'm the person that when we go to Japanese restaurants, everybody, you know, they want my wasabi, you can have it. And then all the ginger comes to me.
Oh, yummy. All right.
Cheers.
Cheers, everyone. I love this tea. Love it.
Very good. I love it. You know how sometimes we have to let it seep some more? This one, we can leave it open and let it express. This is wonderful. Wonderful tea. Wonderful tea. So, as we begin our chats, our thoughts and prayers always goes out to our world. It's very, very chaotic times. I have the pleasure of having women around me in the 78 through 95 range, and they are always telling me how shocked they are about the environment and how people are just not treating each other with love and kindness. Well, not
even women in those age. Even I'm younger and I'm shocked at the way that people treat each other nowadays.
Yeah. So our thoughts and prayers go out to the whole human race, that we will somehow find our way back to the wonderful human beings that we know we are, because we know we're wonderful people. One of the things that Rosetta and I would like to do is just reiterate once again, vote.
Coming up in 3 weeks. 3 weeks. Yeah.
The thing that I want the people who are listening to us to understand, yes, we're going through hard times. Some call it inflation, some call it recession. We're going through very, very hard times. However, we all know that we are strong and we will get through these hard times. Do not allow the hard times to cause you to forget the problem, the bigger picture, and that is a woman's right of choice. If we help the president get enough people in office in the Senate and the House, he is going to put a federal law that will make abortions the way they have always been. If it's something that's medically required for the mom, asking a woman to carry an embryo without a skull is inhumane. Do not lose track. All these people who are talking about, life begins at conception and all that, they should create a place where all these children who are going to be, deformed, and some of them are not even going to make it through the complete birth process. You should be forced to take care of them, because you're not allowing the woman and her doctor and her family to make very important decisions. Do not believe that this is going to go away. If they took Roe v. Wade away, there's lots more that they can take. And women, young girls, you will wake up one day and you will not have the right to open your mouth.
I think it's so important. We always talk about this. It comes from the parents. If you're a parent watching, please teach your children, especially the girls, that they need to speak up, and they need to, if they're of 18 years or older, they need to vote.
Yes.
And my son is 18, so he can vote. We got our ballots just last week.
Yes.
And it's all 3 of ours ballots.
It's so exciting.
It's exciting. And I'm thinking this year I'm going to go into a polling office and turn it in instead of dropping it off at a
Make sure you take
station.
your envelope with you, because even though you go in, you have to have all the pieces
you
before
have to,
they'll let you.
Yes, and then you have to make sure that you put your name and address, because I used to work at the polling offices. This time I'm not going to be doing it, but so many people miss that.
Yeah.
They put their names, but they forget to put their name and the address part. So that's important.
Yes, and like me, I just took the ballot and I thought I could just walk in and they find my name and I just, signed the paper and put it in, and they were like, "Where's your envelope?" And I was like, the envelope, thank God I hadn't thrown it away.
But you can actually, if you want, because some people get physically mailed. Everyone gets mailed.
I have
the
the
ballot.
Absentee ballot.
Yes,
that's
absentee ballot.
Yes.
But if you don't want to do the absentee ballot, there is an option. You can actually go in to the polling place and actually you can vote on the day. You just turn in the one that you receive via mail, and they'll give you one, and you do it right there on the spot.
Perfect.
And if for any of you who have soiled or damaged their ballot, you can always go in and get a new one.
Right. Perfect. So vote. In addition, this is October, which is lovingly known as Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So we're wearing our pink. Pink. We got, I think, one more pink, and then we'll be done with pink for a while, even though it's her favorite color. So I don't know.
I'll still be wearing
She'll
pink.
still be wearing pink. We just want ladies to be aware that this is very, very important, that you get your annual exams, get your, mammogram, and if you have dense breasts, ask for an ultrasound, because you want to make sure. There are women that have come out recently that said, my mammogram came back clean, but I could feel something wasn't right. And that's one of the things that we want to also empower young girls and women. Trust your gut. We used to do that all the time. If we went someplace, I'm a little bit older. If I went someplace and my gut said, I would just back out and leave. That has somehow gotten away from us. And young girls, you'll ask them, well, why did you do something? I don't know. Well, did it make you feel good? I don't know. They don't even say yes or no. So let's reincorporate that back and just make sure that we are raising our daughters to take good care of their bodies and themselves, because that's important.
Exactly. And our gut is our second brain.
Yes, it is. And it's real important to listen to it.
Yep.
Off the coast of Louisiana, there were some friends who went out fishing, and then they didn't come home. And the reason they didn't come home is that the back of their boat, in this particular part of Louisiana, though, they have like us high surf and winds. And so the winds picked up, and then all of a sudden they said they turned and they looked, and the back of the boat was filling with water. They were in the water for 28 hours.
Well, they knew immediately when their boat started to get water was
it was not good.
They needed to do something, and they actually got their ice chest, right?
And put food.
Put food and tied it together with the one guy's bandana.
Yeah,
because he said he always wears a bandana for fishing because he always loses his hat.
Yes, he always loses his hat, and like that is brilliant because most people, like my husband, he said, you never would have thought about food. I wouldn't, but they thought to put fruit and water inside of the ice chest, and like she said, they put them together, and they immediately put on their life vest immediately because they knew this could be a situation.
And it was a big situation. There were sharks.
Yes.
And one of the guys, I think Lee, his last name, he actually gouged out the eyes of one of the sharks.
Yes.
I mean, I don't like sharks. I don't think many people like sharks.
Right.
But would you have the gall and the guts to poke the eyes out of a shark?
Because he said that I think he had his arm or something. He had a part of his body in the shark's mouth. And he said the only thing he could think of was, going for his eyes.
And that is a sign of these three men. They had their wits about them, because a lot of times when people are in that situation, they actually start panicking and they don't think straight and they do everything wrong. But these men were so smart, and one of the men, the way that they got rescued after 28 hours was because he had 5% battery life left in his phone. He had it on that battery low power mode.
Yes.
And he actually texted a friend of his with the exact location of where they were and told them, this is where we are.
Apple computer, great job. It was an iPhone. And what he did is he was able to do a snapshot of Apple Maps to show the exact location. He said the other thing was, they had been out with the ice chest, and he decided to try and swim back to the boat, thinking he would get a better signal. And he got to a certain point and the boat disappeared. So now he's thinking to himself, oh my God. And at that moment, he got a ding, which meant he had signal, and he hit send. And he didn't know if his friend got the message. There was also one of the life vests had been chomped in half.
Yeah, a big chunk had been taken out.
Yes.
And they had lots of bites from all the other. It wasn't just sharks. It was like jellyfish. Jellyfish
they were
bites,
stinging them.
And when the rescue people came, they just saw blood everywhere.
Yeah.
So I don't know how they did it. I give them big props and I clap to them, because
that's amazing.
I can't even survive in that water for 5 minutes,
Thank
let alone 28 hours.
Yes.
And with the sharks, I wouldn't be as brave as he was. I'd probably be, I don't know.
And one of the things that I was most impressed, even though they were going through this, they never said anything about it. They never said, oh my God, we're going to die. They never said, oh my God, what are we going to do? He said they just silently kept doing things to hang in there.
That's I love them. They're just so smart, and they use their intelligence and their calmness to get them through this.
And thanks to our Coast Guards, because not only did they find them, but then they rescued them and got them to the hospital.
Yeah, there was actually about more than 25 or 30 Coast Guards looking for them.
Yeah, and because they were out there, and water reflects light.
Yes.
We're always talking about that sun. They were just sunburned very, very badly. I mean, just peeling.
Very sunburned and dehydrated.
Yes, but they're alive. So this is a feel-good story.
And this is a story they're never, ever going to forget.
Never.
Everyone's going to talk about it for the rest of their lives.
Forever and ever. So we heard something this morning, and we're going to do a little bit more research, but we just wanted to make you aware because we think it's kind of serious, and we just want you to know about it. So this morning on the Today Show, they were talking about how the chemical in hair straighteners, how bad it is. And they said if you use it 1 to 4 times a year. Now, in the Black community, our curly, kinky hair is not always office acceptable. Black women have been straightening their hairs with chemicals forever. And when they say 1 to 4 times a year, and I'm thinking
No, it's more 1 to 4 times a week.
Well, at least a month.
A month?
I mean, at least 2 times, like about every 3 to 4 weeks, you're getting your hair done. Well, a few years ago, they came out with this new thing called Brazilian blowout. And everybody was getting a Brazilian blowout.
So what is a Brazilian blowout?
It is, once again, it's chemicals that you put on your hair, and then it allows the heat, when heat is applied, it just straightens it out.
Wow.
So whether you were Caucasian, Black, Latino, it didn't matter. Everybody was using blowouts.
Wow.
So we're going to kind of follow this story, and as we get an update, we'll share it with you, because this is pretty serious. I mean, because it's linked to uterine cancer.
So we'll do some more research and give you more details.
Yes, right now we know that they took 33,000 women, and they ran this test for 11 years. So this is not, fake. It's real. We just want to know how much more, how deep are they going to go?
Right.
And as they go, we will share that. Here in the Bay Area, there is a news talk radio show called KGO 810. It is international. People call in from, Europe, United States,
all
over the world.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, in the midst of their show, broadcasters were terminated, and they started playing this crazy wild music. And unfortunately, with the music, they eventually came on and they announced that they were taking a new direction. I think it's a bad direction. I love the fact that the people on KGO would talk about everyday occurrences of life.
Right.
And now it's gone.
To do this is what... You okay?
Mm-hmm.
This is what infuriates me. When you are listening to a radio station that's been long time, part of your...
80 years.
Yes.
80.
Like part of your life, you're driving and you put it on, and that's what gets you through your drive. And you like listening to the current affairs, and they speak their own mind. And they actually listen to the listeners, because they have listeners calling in and giving their points of view. And all of a sudden, they weren't even told. All of a sudden, they're on the air, and all of a sudden
they're gone.
You're gone.
Yeah.
Nobody has any warning. We just know that you're listening to it, like Gloria said, and it switched to something else.
Yeah.
And for that to happen, I'm telling you, what kind of people, cold-hearted radio executives or whatever company owns that station, could they do that? At least have some dignity and just tell them the reason why.
It's just sad.
Even if it's right before.
I got my tea in my throat.
Oh, okay.
Now, for me, if you are going to terminate my show, at least give me the common decency of a little bit of time, so I can tell my people, I love you. I love the fact that you've been with me for all these years. The company is taking a new direction, and so before I sign off tonight, I want you to know that this is what happened, and then they could have something personal that they could share. For them to just rip the rug out of them, where one broadcaster is wrapping up a show, the next person is in the studio at the panel setting up for their turn, and then they just turn the lights out. I don't think you're going to be very successful, because that to me is once again bad behavior.
And that channel changed to, what did you say? I turned it on, it's sports.
Yeah.
We don't need another sports channel.
No.
We want KGO back.
Yes, we do. In some form or fashion. I hope they figure out, they everything that they do on the air for KGO, they used to do a podcast. I'm hoping and praying that KGO doesn't own the podcast.
Wow.
And even if they do, they can come up with something. They could say, this is Mark, this is John, this is Pat. Those are just 3 of my favorite broadcasters within the community, and they start a new entity.
Yeah, hopefully they do. And if you are a long time follower of KGO, let us know what your thoughts are and what you think. And if you know of any inside scoop, we'd like to know why they abruptly just took them off air without giving any warning, letting anyone know.
I know, it's crazy. So last week we started a conversation about quiet quitting. You know, people who are just quietly doing what they want to do. That has led us into another topic, women and burnout.
Yeah, so if you remember,
sorry,
it's okay. It happens. Things happen like that. That's okay. If you remember, we talked about quiet quitting, like Gloria said, about people doing just enough and they don't do any more. Like when we grew up in corporate world, we would go into work early. We would attend meetings, even if they weren't mandatory. We would stay later to finish our jobs and projects.
Whatever was needed.
Nowadays, they're saying that it's more like the 35-year-olds and younger. They don't go in. If it's not a mandatory meeting, they don't attend. They don't go in early. They don't stay later.
Nope.
If there's something that comes to you on your plate that says you got to photocopy this or you got to do this, they'll just leave it until the next day.
That's right.
So those are quiet quitters. And then we also talked about quiet firing, where there's two sides of this. You can either do what you're doing, be a quiet quitter, and then the managers will quietly fire you.
Yes.
Or I talked about NPR, where there was a listener who was a manager, and she's actually cut back on a lot of things, and she has less anxiety about taking vacations and personal time off. So there could be two sides to that. And as Gloria said, we're going to be talking about women and burnout.
Yes.
And this is huge, 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 because we always talk about women and how much work the women put in day to day.
You know, because like say a man, for example, you know, he gets up in the morning, he gets dressed, he may or may not help the child, you know, get their breakfast or whatever. And then he kisses his family and he goes to work.
And then the mother is left to...
She has to get up, make sure the kids are dressed, you know, make up the beds, cook the food, drive the kids to school. Then once she's done with that, even if she's an in-home mom, she still has a whole house of things to do. Or she gets dressed, goes to work, does all of this, leaves work, comes back, picks up her kids,
goes grocery shopping if she needs to, makes the dinner.
Yes.
And if kids ever get called in because they're sick or something is happening at school, who do they go? Mom. And in the US, there's a statistic. Women spend 4.5 days taking care of their new homes and families, and men spend 2.8 hours. So it's taking, this is all taking a toll on their mental health.
Yes.
And I don't understand why it's a typical thing, that it's kind of stereotypical that when men have, not all men, but majority of men, why it's okay for them to return back to the workplace after they've had children.
Yes.
Whereas women who are in the workplace, we've talked about this before, may not get a pay raise or a position raise because a promotion, because they think, the executives think that you're going to get pregnant, you're a mom, and then you're going to leave that position.
Right. Or you're not going to put your heart into it. I've heard that said before. It's like, what do you mean? I remember back in the day, you know, Apple Computer had concerns. So what did they do? They created a daycare center. You could drop your kids off as early as you wanted. And I think it stayed open till 8 o'clock. So they were at least more accommodating than some places where, I mean, I've been in environments where the sky is falling. You know, you've got a major problem, and you're sitting there and you're like, okay, it is 5:15. I have to leave here by 5:45, or my child's going to be sitting on the steps, because you have to pick your child up by 6. That is normally the latest you can in an outside daycare.
Yes, or they start charging you extra.
Yes, and they're not very happy when you show up because you're making them late from them going home.
I remember
and going to the
when
grocery
I
store.
worked corporate and it's shut at 6.
Right.
You'd have to pay $1 a minute
after that.
After 6 p.m.
Wow.
But there is a public health did a study, and they said that housework and childcare have a greater impact on mental health in women than men.
Wow.
And why do you think? It's a bit obvious, because women do most of the housework and take majority are,
Yes.
the day,
the chores of the day
is taken up by the children,
yes,
and housework. So this is like a big, big issue. And as we're women, we grew up, you probably grew up with, like, was it like the women stayed at home and men went to work?
a lot more
Than now, right?
than now. I mean, when I was younger, especially like my grandparents, my grandfather would go to work and my grandmother stayed home. And I can't tell you how many people said to her, well, you get to stay home. And she says, yeah, I get the pleasure of getting up every morning. And once I get my family out the door, then I have to till the fields. She has to take and make sure there's no weeds going around the corns or the peas or the food that she was growing for us. She'd have to take care of the chicken coop. She would take care of all this, wash all the clothes, hang them up on a line, dry the clothes, See, now we just throw stuff in mechanical devices and forget about them. Oh, I gotta take them out of the washer, put them in the dryer. No. It was much harder having to hang. I used to hate that when I would hear the
line dry,
the washing machine, even though I tell you, you have never seen better white sheets than when you hang them up to dry. I don't know if it's the bleach in the sun or whatever they were using, because back then they didn't use a lot of chemicals. It was pretty simple. My grandmother used to use a lot of vinegar, and the sheets would just be so bright. But I hated it because they had to be folded with the corners. And,
that's I don't
but,
even like it.
Even then, women have had a lot on their plate. A lot.
Yeah, it's always been stressful. And there is a book out there called Fair Play by Eve Bronsky. And it's talking about, in that book, it talks about, it's not the work, but the type of work that the men and women are doing. They're saying men, the tasks they do are on their own timetable.
Yes.
But for women, it's more tasks like meals, groceries, going to school for sick kids, taking care of the kids, taking them to birthday parties, social events, driving them around to soccer practice, football practice, whatever practice.
Yes.
So if you're interested in reading more, get this book, Fair Play by Eve Bronsky. I'm going to put the book name in the description below so you can read that. But we wanted you to be aware of that, and just to know that mental health, women, we are nurturers. So we do what we typically do, right? Because it's just inert to us.
Yeah.
But when is enough, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying all men don't do anything. There are men that do things, and I'm grateful they do. But as we said, it all goes back to vote.
Yes. Kind of along in that line, there is a young lady. She is, she's 22. Well, she was 22 years old, 22. Now in Iran, where once again, women are to be seen barely, eyes only. Everything else should be covered and they should not be heard. So she was arrested by the Iran's morality police. Now, when you hear morality, you think upboard,
right?
And she was killed in their care. And you know why she was arrested? Because she had on a hair garment and it wasn't tight enough in their means. Wasn't that her hair was out or exposed. She just had it on. It wasn't tight enough, so they arrested her. So right now in Iran, there is a protest afoot. And in previous years, when they would protest, it would die down. Because of social media and the internet, there's more global information flowing back and forth. They have children, high school students, in the street protesting, cutting their hair, taking the hairdressers off and throwing them into the fire. Women are just getting tired. The way that we stop this, moms and young girls, is we vote. I ask myself every day, where are the ministers? If I, as a child, acted the way these politicians acted, I would have been scolded and in so much trouble. I was thinking, we all know that DeSantis, the governor of Florida, decided to rent a private jet and put immigrants on it and send it to Martha's Vineyard. He's like, well, they got the money, they can afford it. He took children. So now what are you, governor? Are you, slave trader? Because you're transporting people against their will.
Right.
This should not be allowed. And for people to believe that American citizens are so vain that we don't care, I'm calling out to all moms. We do care. We have to stop this. Do you want your child to go to war? If we don't stop this, because President Putin, when he gets through with Ukraine, he's going to head on to Poland. Kim Jong-un, he's just shooting off. Why is it so? What are they after? That's what I don't understand. What do you want? Blowing up things. What do you want? You want to destroy the world?
Well, they just want to show everyone that they're in charge and what they say goes. That's why they're acting the way they're acting. I don't think anything else. It's not because of anything else.
And the sad thing is that we all need each other. If you really want to just blow your mind, find the Discovery Channel and just watch a program. And you will find out how the ants are needed. The bugs that we all don't like are needed. There is an evolutionary tract how it all collaborates and works together. And when one entity decides I'm better than you are, that's when we have chaos. So I think it's very sad that a 22-year-old child, a young woman, lost her life because of her hair. That's really sad. So let's send a new message. Could you imagine how the world would shift if we all woke up and all of the Republicans who wanted positions didn't get them? And that their citizens, if they were like, oh, I want to recount, and their citizens said, you can recount all you want. I'm tired. I'm tired of your negative BS. I am tired.
Well, that's why we have Biden in place, because he's all about the people, not about
us.
The blues and the reds.
Yes.
He's there for the people, everyone.
Yes. And he's doing, here in California, we pay $3 more a gallon than they do on the East Coast. He's trying to relieve barrels of
of the stored gas so that we're not being, I haven't gassed up in a week or so. Have you gassed up in a week? I haven't gassed up in a week, so I don't know how much gas is gone up.
Well, the last time I gassed up, it was 7:02. And I was like, okay, I'm done. So if I don't have to physically see someone, I am slowing my roll. I'm not just going to my office just to go to my office, because I have to be more conscious. And I'm sorry, these gas companies, so prices are going up. President Biden says, well, okay, I'll release more from our reserves. So what does the company say today? Oh, we're going to have to slow down production. Really? So this is gouging. So anytime you go somewhere and the prices are, 40 cents to, there are places where I live where they're like $8. It's like, you got to be kidding me. Those people, don't give them your business. Trust me, if you don't buy their gas at $8, it will go down. And that's the thing where we're now with, are we in an inflation, or are we in, a depression, or, what is going on? The thing is, as long as people continue to pay the prices, the people are not incented to lower the prices.
Exactly.
So what we all have to do is better research. Yeah, just because a store is your neighborhood store and it's been there forever, if the prices are too high, then go around the corner or go to another town.
Yeah.
Because we have to learn how to do better. This gouging I'm so over it. So over it. I am so over
me
it.
As well.
I never, ever thought I would say anything about Walmart and going to Walmart. However, Walmart prices, yeah, they've gone up a little bit, but nothing like the other major chains.
Walmart has actually improved a lot.
Their quality, they actually have an organic vegetable section.
Organics, and there's a lot of packaged organic stuff as well. And they have they're coming up with like the sensitivity section, the gluten frees, the ketos, the whatever not. So you'd be surprised.
You'd be surprised, and I know I am surprised. So, so let's woosah. Let's come into something funny. It's funny to me because I just can't take it serious. Bachelor in Paradise.
Bachelor in Paradise. So are you watching? If you haven't seen it, you might not want to watch this because we might give it some spoilers away.
Might want to pause and fast forward.
But we've been watching it, and this week's episode, well, there were 2 episodes. The women get called. Just a quick rundown. The women get called. No, actually, it starts off with the women giving out the roses.
Right.
And
they're balanced.
Yes, so they're balanced. They're all 2 couples. Guys went home.
Right.
I feel very sorry for Shanae. She was in a love triangle.
Yeah.
With, I forget the 2 men's names now.
With Logan.
Logan, and what was the other guy's name?
He was one of the bros.
One of the bros that was muscly, and then she decided to give her rose to Logan, and they're all paired up. 2 guys go home. Then all of a sudden, Jesse comes in.
Yes.
Jesse comes in. And he tells them, this is so silly. He asks, and he drags it on.
Yes. How are you doing?
How are you doing?
How's your relationship?
Are you like where you'd like to be? Is it strong?
Yes.
And then he drops the bombshell.
He blows it up. Boom.
All the men are staying here, and all the women are leaving, and they bring... Is it 5 new?
Yeah, because they're now
in.
5 couples. So they're going to take all the girls away, and they bring in
5 new ladies, and these are not new ladies that we haven't seen. They're ladies in the past. Jasenia and some other girls, and one lady.
Previous seasons.
One lady, not even. She's from Australia.
Yeah,
So the girls get shipped away,
and the girls, before they leave their men, they get to see the new girls. Oh
so they get to see the new girls. So they get to know. They're like crying, and they're saying, "Oh, these new girls are fresh and they're ready. And look at us, we're all." They're talking like they're old and haggard or something. They've been used.
Well, they said, we've been on the beach and we don't even have on makeup,
and these girls are coming in fresh and energetic with new life to give to these men, and they're crying, and I feel sorry for them because. You don't know, because, man, they will go. I mean, I don't know.
Well, what did one of the girls, she said, you know how men are, out of sight, out of mind.
Yes. And if there's a woman, she's standing and walking and can talk and eat and sleep and is
take care of their needs.
Yes. And if they're trying to get to know you, they're not going to say no.
They're going to just keep it moving.
Yes. So the girls get shipped away. There's a whole lot of crying. Oh. Yes. And then all of a sudden we see the men with the girls. Jasenia's trying to get with Andrew. And then some other girls trying to get with...
What was her name? Elijah? Elijah is going after Rodney. I love me some Rodney from Michelle's Bachelor.
Yes.
Rodney is so cute. And a lot of people have they don't like Lacey. They think Lacey is not a really good girl. And Lacey is one of the girls crying and having a meltdown because she's like, is Rodney thinking about me? Does he even care about me? Oh my God.
It's so weird because they want you to see what they want you to see. So she's saying that, and then they show Rodney with this other woman. Saying, I have not even...
Alicia.
Whoever it is. Trying to say, well,
But you could see their chemistry was much better. Lacey was having to work real hard on Rodney. This other girl, she was just, she wanted to meet him, and the way she looks at him. And I mean, the minute the girls were allowed to mingle with the guys, I thought she likes Rodney.
Yeah, and then there was someone with Jacob. I don't know the names of the girls, but
oh my God, she was out of control.
She was.
What is she? And she's 33. She's not a young girl.
But I'm annoyed with Jacob because I like Jill.
Yeah.
And she's never been given a chance, and he's there gallivanting off with this other lady, and he says, I have not even thought about Jill.
That's right. And he said it out loud. I thought,
so there you have it. And then Michael, the new girl that comes down and is connected to Michael in some way.
I wrote her name down. Oh, Danielle. So Danielle, she lost her husband,
her fiance,
and Michael lost his wife. And so it's like they're having this kindred spirit. And I'm sorry, I thought the way he treated my girl, Shanae, I'm like, Michael. And then, they're sitting and they're talking and they have a moment. And I understand, working through grief. However, Michael,
I don't understand him. The girl that was with him, what's her name before that left?
Shanae.
Is it Shanae?
Or Chanel?
Or Sienna?
Sienna,
that's it. Sienna.
And we both, and we both like Sienna a lot. And she said, I don't want to stay here and watch him date another woman.
I can't believe the fact that they had such good connection, and he says stuff to make her feel like he's not ready.
Right.
But then he's going.
And then the night before they do the pairing, he's all worried because he doesn't have anybody. And when Danielle shows up, he's like, hi, and it's like he forgot all about the previous woman.
If I was her, I'd be so mad.
Yes. And then the two of them go off on a date. So when they come back, they're like, hello. And it's the same guys, but it's all different girls.
So they go, what's up? What's happening? Yeah. What is this going on?
Yes.
But little do the guys know that 5 new men joined the women's team.
Yes. And you get to see, even though there are some girls who don't have a real connection, a lot of the guys are like, they're like, it's just really dead here.
Because the girls are not really feeling
like,
it.
I'm not really interested. And my favorite couple, Brandon and his girl.
Oh my God.
You see Brandon like with Wes at the bar. You never see Brandon
They
off
never
with another
show him
girl
with another girl.
because
that
he's
was
not.
One couple I did not want to split up. And you see, because they show what's happening next week.
Yes.
They get back together and they're so happy to see each other, Brandon and his girl.
And he said that it has been, they had spent no more than 4 hours apart since the time they hit the beach.
I can't believe
that. So for
them
to be apart for a week. And then Lacey, she goes looking for her man.
She goes back to the men's camp and goes
while the girls are all still at the new place.
Yes. And she's there, but little does she know that he went off on a date. Mm-hmm. Comes back, and then Shanae.
Oh, that's another piece of work.
Another piece of work because she does not. It does not take her a minute before she starts hooking up with another guy.
Yes. And if it wasn't for Jill, she would have done more than just. She was upset because she was like, "I'm going to the boom boom room. I want to kiss him. I want to make love to him. I want to touch him." I mean, she had all these plans. And Jill came in and she's eating fruit and she's like, "I'm sad." And she's like, "Do you need a drink?" Hint like, "Go away." Jill act like I don't hear nothing, I don't know nothing. So that's the only thing that saved her. However, Shanae forgot that, back in the day she had 2 guys. So Logan gets taken on a date and Logan decides she's really cute and she's sweet and I'm here to find love. So next week, Shanae's going to have another meltdown because her man also was doing things.
Well, you get what you give.
That's right.
So that's what it is. And it's a whole, we'll see what happens. But if you've been watching it, let us know your thoughts and your feedback and what you think. If not, then that's fine. Not everyone likes these kind of shows, but I never really liked these kind of shows, but I kind of got hooked because Bachelor in Paradise is just like we see Bachelor and we see Bachelorette, and it's just those people coming together and trying to see
if they can have a relationship
because they didn't work out. So that's why I'm kind of hooked. I like to see their progression.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. So we'll give you a new update next week. So the thing that's really interesting right now is weather patterns. Weather patterns are really crazy. And so even though right now you would think we're approaching fall, I don't have to worry about it. Well, the UK has a new strand of COVID and it's kicking pretty hard. They're saying that if you are all boosted up, yes, you could still get it. However, it's not as life-threatening as if you don't have it. One of the things that I heard that blew my mind, they said only about one third of all of the individuals that got the initial vaccine never went back to get the second vaccine nor the boosters.
Really?
And the new booster, I think they said something like 8,200 people have taken it. I mean, it's such a low
So
percentage.
are you saying this is in the U.S.?
Yes, in the U.S.
U.S., okay.
Our percentage levels are really low. And yet, every time I turn around, there are groups of people screaming. I mean, I look at football games and I think, oh my God, droplets. I don't even, I don't even see the people. I just see droplets and they're screaming. And I'm just like, people, be careful. This week the Warriors got their rings. I just remembered this.
Oh, yeah, the rings.
Oh my God, did you see those rings?
It's
They're
too big.
huge.
It's honking and it's gold and silver. And then it reveals, it swivels, and then it opens up and reveals, depending on the player,
Yes.
how many trophies they've won. So Curry got 4, so it revealed 4 trophies.
Right. I mean, the rings are beautiful, but they're very gaudy.
I'm like, who is ever going to wear that? I would not be wearing that.
No, that's something you put on in a display case in your house or something.
I don't think any of the players really
they
wear
only
their
put
ring.
them
They just
on
have
for
it as
a
a
picture.
token, just to show that this is their prize because they've won. But I guess you're right. It's just for the picture.
Yeah. So when I hear that the UK is, experiencing some high numbers, I just think we in the United States should just pay attention. Pay attention. That's all we want you to do.
Yeah.
And then speaking about the weather, so everyone keeps acting like, oh, it's just weather. There are people who I know are shocked. Give you an example. So today in the East Coast, it's a little cold. They're going through a freeze front, not a cold front, a freeze
We're
front.
in October, only October.
Yes.
It's not even winter yet.
So 99 million people are under a freeze alert right now. Chicago's at 34. Atlanta is at 34. Nashville is at 36. Baton Rouge in Louisiana is at 34.
Oh.
Now, by the weekend, they're going to be in the 80s. Okay?
Hello.
And we're in the 70s to the 90s. And by the weekend into next week, we're going to start dropping.
So it's flipped.
So that's what they said. They're like, it's freezing on the West Coast and it's hot on the East Coast. We're on the West Coast. So we're nice. It's supposed to be 96 today. And then they are in the 30s. And then next week, they're going to have the 70s through the 90s. And we're going to be in the 60s.
Yeah.
So, and where those places I was telling you, some of them had 8 inches of snow. How can you go trick-or-treating in 8 inches of snow?
You don't.
How can you? I mean, it's like the weather is so bizarre. And people are acting like, oh, it's just weather.
It's just weather, but we never got these extremes.
No.
And I'm always talking about this because enough is enough. Everybody, we need to do something and we need to take matters into our own hand. Like we said, by 20, 30, 50 or whatever, we may not even be on the map.
That's right.
We're going to be
if
all
we keep
underwater.
acting like this, yeah.
So there are things that we've been telling you. If you've been watching us, we do give you tips on what you can do to help the environment and reduce the carbon footprint.
Yes.
And if you don't know, we'll do another recap and a later show as to exactly if you don't really understand what all this is about. We'll talk about it again and why it's impacting us, because the first thing that's impacting is our weather. That's why we're having so much extremes. Hot, cold, cold, hot.
Yes.
All these.
It has never flipped like it is doing.
And all these hurricanes and disasters and rain. And then California, we had 2 days of triple digits of like last month. Yeah. It's crazy. And all this is because of this global warming.
Yes.
So if you don't believe it's true and you don't believe in global warming, then why are we having all this weird weather?
How do you explain it?
How do you explain it?
Because people are saying, we don't normally get snow in October. And they have these glazed looks on their faces.
Well, it's accumulation of years and decades of not taking care of our community, our world.
Yes. And if you think that, oh, we are indestructible, they had these bad things called dinosaurs at one time. I'm sure the dinosaurs, they were huge. I mean, they were like the size of buildings. They're not no more. And if people do not stop all this negative behavior and actually stop and pay attention to the environment, we're going to have a very, very serious problem. You know, one blessing, as everyone knows, Ian hit the Florida coast pretty tough. One of the communities hit the hardest has a resident who bought a lottery ticket. The lottery was like $525 million, and them and someone here in San Jose, California, bought the other ticket.
Wow.
And so they are going to split that $525 million. And they were talking to people on the streets, and they were like, our community is so devastated. I would want to, put the money towards helping. And yet we have billionaires walking around with billions, not millions, billions of dollars.
We have lots of billionaires in the US.
They're not volunteering to do anything. And if you are volunteering and you're just doing it on the down low, you should let people know, because people need hope. They need to know that there's positivity in the world. They need hope.
Yes, they do.
So this has been another great chat. We had a wonderful time connecting with you all. We're so grateful for the time that you spend with us. We feel the love. We hope you feel our love for you, for our community, for our world as we talk together. And we look forward to sharing our next conversation.
Yes, we do. We had an amazing time. And we'd just like to say thank you. And if you liked our content and what we chat about and you think it's fun, we'd love for you to hit that thumb icon. Please consider subscribing to our channel. We'd love that support, and hit the bell notification so you don't miss any of our videos. Thank you so much, everyone. Appreciate you so much. Be kind.
Yes.
And we are Silicon Valley Girls Chat Over Tea. And remember to always keep smiling. Bye.
Bye.